I know it's saying, I'm saying on this commercial property where people might want to come in and snatch up the property against theirs, that's R2, and then come and take a chance and come to the council or go to the Planning and Zoning Commission to have it changed to C2 and incorporate it and replat it into their property. Well, at that time, we need to strengthen the ordinance and saying that if it's done, if they're going to bump up against the R2, then they need to have a green space. That means nothing gets parked there. You know, whether it be 25 feet, 50 feet, or whatever. You know,
Would you say green?
could that be in the ordinance, James, something like that?
Correct. It's a dead space. It's a dead
A
space.
dead space.
We'll look at it and see. We've got two different things we're talking about here, basically. When you amend the map and change the C3, if you change a particular lot to C3, you're just making a little inlet or outlet on the map.
Right.
And C3 is, and then you're allowed to do anything in C3 that C3 allows. You're talking more about a specific use permit,
Okay.
which is another way to approach some of these things, where you can say, and we can look into this to see that trucking, parking of trucks should be a specific use permit. And that can be allowed in any district or the district you want them allowed in. And those specific use, that pertains to that particular piece of property, and that's where you can put a screening fence requirement and things like that in the specific use, because that's just to that particular piece of property,
Right.
as opposed to changing one tract of land to C3, that just becomes a part of C3.
If we did that, James, that means every future trucking company would have to come to council to get a permit.
A specific
use
use
permit. Okay.
One last comment about this C2. The property that's on, Jefferson, across from the kennel, lady with the kennel, the dog. Huh? Yeah, right across the street, that big piece of property right there. That's C2, isn't it?
Commercial.
That's downtown? Is that
Downtown?
I think that's all.
I know, I've done seen it, it's C2.
Yeah.
Right? So I can buy that, I can open a trucking company, downtown growth?
Well, basically right now, what you're looking at, there's nothing saying they can't go there.
That's something to think about. Do we want something like I got in my backyard on Main Avenue and everybody else that lives around me? Do they want that in the middle of our heart of our growth?
Well, if this gets passed, then it can only be done in the C3, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to
Just our
say.
heavy commercial zone.
Yeah, we need to do something before something happens to downtown growth.
That's on Jefferson.
Mhm.
That would be the central business district.
Is there a rule about, it's still
The purple,
C2?
the C2 would have been, is the electric shop on the corner.
There's,
Okay.
there's
Okay, the electric shop. Well, there's still another, there's a piece of property right across the
Yeah.
street from that.
It's the green, but it's labeled green on here.
about the only thing I
I'm
can say.
talking, I'm sorry,
Or maybe,
I apologize.
can't tell, it doesn't say, it doesn't
Maybe
really.
say
It's a really small map that's congested, it's hard to actually do.
It's right next to,
It's a good point.
the one across the street next to Mr. Loveland's new duplex.
Yeah,
That corner piece of property next to the hair shop, across the street from, directly across the street from the Chamber of Commerce. We put a big old dump truck service right there. That's C2.
What they wanted to right now.
That's how important this is, what we're doing right now, that's how important.
I think we agree with Mr. Pedraza and Mr. Maye that this is something that needs to be looked at and potentially changed. And I think we all agree that we can proceed with whatever's next into looking at what we got to do.
Thank
Come
you.
on. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
John. Thank you, Adam.
Okay, one more, Mayor, Council, and this is probably Adam's pet peeve and one of the toughest things that Adam has to do. And Adam has to enforce no parking in people's yards. And we kind of relax that during the holidays because kids are home. A lot of our neighborhoods were built in the 50s and 60s and 70s, and they don't have enough space for multiple cars. So basically, in February, if there's no objection to the council,
Yeah, when I gave it to you, it was behind this.
yeah, Adam is going to basically go back to his normal function of when he sees it, when it's reported, they'll have to deal with parking in the yard. And he's going to give you just kind of a little bit of the gray area he has to deal with, and he wants to make sure that the council's all on the same page. Go ahead, Adam.
Okay, basically, we just want to reiterate that parking on the
Two of
grass.
those lights, if you don't mind, Chief.
I think it's
It's not necessarily parking on the grass, it's parking, as you can see on the letter, that's a preliminary letter that I send to individuals that are doing it. Basically, it just states verbatim what the ordinance says, and it's parking in the front or side yard, not necessarily the grass. And I just did some pictures of some individuals that tend to do this. And we wanted to, Dan and I wanted to talk to you guys and make sure that everybody's still on the same page, that we want to enforce this the way that I've been enforcing it. There's situations where people come up to me and say, well, it's not making any ruts, it's not making any bad spots in the grass, why are you messing with me? It doesn't say in the ordinance, there's no, you know, nothing there saying that if it's not rutted up or if it's not being damaged in any sort. Like I said, it's specific to parking in the front or the side yard, so it doesn't matter.
So at this time, what is allowed? Is it allowed to park on gravel or
Rock,
concrete?
shell, concrete, or asphalt. It has to be a designated parking space. And it has to be an egress and regress from a road.
So Adam, on this, is this a zero tolerance? Is there a time frame?
What I typically do is I try to make contact. If I don't have the ability to make contact by them not being home or something else happening, then I'll usually tag the vehicle. After the vehicle is tagged the same day, I go ahead and send a letter. That letter says it on there, you have 10 days to comply. If in those 10 days, if it hasn't been complied, or they contact me, if somebody contacts me and say, hey, look, we're running off some low funds right now, we're gonna get it taken care of, we'll do our best to stay off of it for the next couple of weeks or whatever, but we are gonna take care of it. I'll work with you, like Mr. Sosa says, if someone comes to me about it, we'll do what we can to work with you.
My real question was, if you just drive by and see a guy parked or see a car parked in the driveway or on the road, I'm sorry,
In the grass.
on the grass, or
In the
front yard,
side
side yard,
Yeah.
you don't tag it right then, do you,
No.
you make sure it's a multiple offense?
Correct,
before?
and that's what I'll do, I'll take multiple pictures usually, and that's part of it, I take pictures of it. Usually the second or third time. It could be a situation where mom and dad just got back, kids were parked in the driveway, they parked in the grass and unloading groceries. I got there after the groceries were unloaded, they just hadn't moved the car yet. So there's a bunch of situations like that. So what we do is I'll make contact with them, express to them what the situation is. Also, this particular letter, it's not something that I would send certified mail or regular mail. What I would do is take that to the front door, basically stating what the ordinance is and how we can get in compliance. After all the efforts and I exhaust everything that I have, then we go to the letter and the tagging. Like I said, I understand what people say, but there's also these that just, progressively get worse. Here's a duplex that has 4 cars, I think, parked. Big old driveway, but they all decided to park in the grass. Same situation here, don't have enough room in the parking. These things, it just gets, it can get progressively worse if it's not taken care of. And that's what we would need to do, to protect it.
Is that first picture?
Mhm.
Can you put on
This one here,
it? No, the other one.
It was halfway on, halfway off.
Oh,
this one here, yeah.
oh, I see it.
Yeah, you see the concrete is under the left front and left rear tire, but yeah, it's not much. But look in before it. I mean, it's all mudded up and it's not going to get better. It's just going to get worse. Once you get a hole like that, you start getting a little bit of water, a little rain in it. It's just going to progressively get worse.
So what are our, at this time,
Right now, the ordinance is already in place.
well, I mean, for violations, what do we, other than making them fix it, if they keep doing it, what do we have in place that you can enforce?
After the letter's been sent, certified letter, regular mail, give them the 10 days. I go back after the 10 days. If it has not been in compliance, then it's an automatic invitation to court, which means $196 fine.
And that's in front of Judge Simon.
Actually, it would probably be in front of
Yes.
Jesse, because it's pre-court. And if they contest it or whatever, they want to speak to the judge, then it'll go to them.
But in your defense, not in your defense, but in the fact that I think you do a good job, how many people out of the hundreds that you have had to deal with have you taken to court?
I've taken, and that's another thing, when I do take them to court, if they tell me, look, you know, we're been under this, that, and the other, can you give me another month and I will get it taken care of, I promise. A lot of times, if I feel like they're genuine about it, then I'll give them that extra time, and Jesse and I talk, if they will, is it okay if we do this? And him and I talk about it, depends on the individual and what we've had in past relationships. If they're okay, he's okay, then we'll give them that time. If they do it, then we we basically dismiss the charges.
My point is this, Adam very seldom has to take.
Yeah, I've
I'd say-
taken probably 15 people, or I'd say 10 people to court, and probably
How many years?
2 that have actually paid, maybe 3 tops.
Okay.
And if they did, they're either gone from the residence or they fixed the problem since then.
Any other questions for Adam?
February 1st, if there's no objection, Adam will be back on doing this because of the fact that the kids are out of school, COVID and all these things. We've been pretty much, Adam's been kind of just backing off because you got kids home from school, and the colleges, you know, but now everybody's going back to college and
It's
I
not
think-
something I go out looking for. I get a complaint about it, and then I enforce it. If I'm, driving down the road and somebody had called and I'm going to check on a specific, and next door or next, 2 houses down from the street, if they're also doing the same thing, I stop, make communication with the individual, stop them, let them know the problems. If I don't, then I put a letter on the door. And that gives them the opportunity to contact me and let me know what the situation is, and we can talk further on from there.
Thank you, Adam.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other reports?
I have some. Well,
Any other reports?
oh, for them, okay. Oh, I thought I was supposed to.
Any citizen comments? Yes, sir. Take your name and address for us. You're leaving?
When I were on this subject, I guess I came here to good night. Patrick Reeves, 4320 Cleveland. Now look at this. This was on the pole at the Livingston funeral. That's just really absurd. I mean, I'm starting to see more of these signs, yellow ones, and I don't even know if these are legit businesses. It seems like today people can just put these things on Facebook and get it for near nothing, right? I mean, I don't do social media, thank God I don't. But is there any way that we can get this back online?
As far as you can comment, I don't believe we can answer anything that's not on the agenda.
No, I'm just considering, I mean, y'all put it up for a vote or whatever, because they're starting to come back. I took down like 30-something in 2 hours one day. And I don't understand why city people, streets and drainage, can do this on a regular basis.
Property maintenance does that not on a daily basis, but when they
Well, it doesn't have
see.
to be daily, because they're gonna come up as soon as you tear them down, but is there a solution to stop this? I mean, what are we doing, just giving the signs back to them? Are we calling them, we're throwing them away, or we giving them a warning? Is there any rule about putting things on telephone poles?
Yeah, it's a violation.
Well, then maybe we need to violate them, call them up and give them a ticket. I mean, I don't know what else to stop it, I mean, let's be kind to everybody, it just ain't gonna work. I mean, that's my opinion. But you gotta step up and start doing the right thing, and he's talking about mud splashing or dump trucks in your area. Well, I got the same problem. Have y'all considered the ordinance that we talked about on December the 26th? About the church, and reconsidering looking at it, decimal meters, things like that, or just pushed to the side for now?
No,
section of that.
I mean, I would look
it's
at,
not touched.
no, I'm just, this is
We
before.
can't comment on that.
Yeah, we can't,
Right, you had no idea.
we can't talk.
I'm welcoming y'all to, glad to see y'all. But I don't know what else to do about this. I mean, it's ugly, it's like, it's just, the other side, I mean, y'all have the wheel, so all I can do is steer you hopefully in the right direction. You want this, do whatever you gotta do with it.
Thanks, sir. Thank you for your comments, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other citizen comments?
I would,
Yes, sir.
I
Name and-
just wonder, I live at 6320 Dave Street. I'm real familiar with the dump truck issue that's going on, that's where I live. I have another quick concern. First of all, just a quick statement on your guys that are redoing the sewer. Outstanding group of contractors. They're working in my yard specifically a lot because I have my yard backs up to Lakey Street, which also has there's a lot going on right there in my little intersected area. But those guys have been real honorable, real respectful, coming in and out of my yard. And that's just a statement I want to make to you guys. They've been real good doing their return dirt work. Just everything's right on time. I know they're having a lot of trouble over there, but my statement is basically, I'm glad he's here because I actually wanted to get with him. You know, due to the dump truck traffic that's right there, which has gotten worse and worse. Those guys are flying through there, and I'll try not to snivel about that too much. You know, I understand everybody's got to have a job, but where I'm at on Dave Street, the two local automotive shops that are right there on the corner. Obviously, I know we have some street issues, and it's my understanding that over time you are going to be doing some repairs on those roads, and I believe.
It'll be totally redone as
Sure,
soon as that.
and I'm grateful, and I believe, you know, and I know some of the other neighbors are real grateful to hear that. However, when you're turning, you know, so obviously when there's a dump truck riding behind you, you got to turn there. The issue a couple of us have been discussing is the caliche that is in the parking lot of those two businesses right there is kind of over time pushed out into the road. And what's happened is, obviously, if it's like that, people start considering that to be their parking lot, you know what I mean? And it's just gotten worse and worse. And like I said, I'm not much of a surveyor, but when I look down that line, and it just appears that they've encroached on the street quite a bit in both directions, both businesses. So when we try to take a turn to go to our house, it's a daily event for us to have to stop and wait on people to back out and pull around and certain things like that. So Cindy said when I turned 50, which I'll turn 50 in October, and I'm legally, I could legally come and start whining at the city council meeting. So here I am, I'm Jason, good to meet y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jason.
Is he talking about those automotive places that they're parking too close to the street?
Yeah.
Too close to the corner.
That's across from where I live, yeah.
Any other citizen comments?
Well, since I live on Dave Street as well, I just want to reiterate what he said.
Name and address.
Rob Denzel, 6155 Dave. D, years ago, had some signs put on our street that said no parking from here to corner. Them signs are gone. I called once, the signs, they took them down, they put them behind the fence. So basically, like you said, it's hard to pull on or off our street because there's always cars parked on the side. The apartments, which is kind of part of the body shop, they pour concrete for driveways, so their driveways are just right up on the street. I mean, the cars are not off the street. The easement, they're actually parked in the easement. So I don't know what we can do about it. He's done a lot to help, and it just keeps getting worse and worse.
I think when we want to do real quick, just a comment, when we have the street redone, we're going to try to reclaim all that and try to make sure that there's a much better vision so that you guys can get in and out a lot easier. And that will be probably in the next 2 or 3 months that we'll be doing that.
Yeah, because they do park just right there on the street.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other citizen comments? Okay, we'll move on to item number 6, the annual review of beer and wine permits and mixed beverage permits on premise consumption, and consider the renewal of the permits for 2021. Marshall?
Norman Reynolds, Grove City Marshal, and just let me point out to our new council members that I do this every year, or our department does, and we do a review of all of the premises that have beer and wine permit. And we have 5 of those. Those consist of Larry's Fresh Market, the KC Hall, Felici's, Tony's Barbecue, and Baytown Inn.
Baytown.
Yeah, Baytown Seafood. And so those 5, I've gone through those calls, looked at them. And frankly, what we're looking for is we're looking for calls where intoxication might be a factor in the call. Selling to underage kids, or something like that. Between those 5 businesses, I counted 30 calls. That's all that we had. Some of those calls are even officers making a traffic stop there, and they use that address, to where they pull somebody over. So nothing that they all are deserving of renewal. I didn't find anything that would affect their license. Things like I think what was it, Baytown Seafood had, we call them somebody not wearing a mask, somebody bathing in the bathroom, so it's all kind of things. Yeah,
Well,
but fortunately, nothing to do with with the alcohol.
I will need a motion in a second.
I make a motion that we approve the liquor license? Liquor permit for the Baytown Seafood, Felici's Italian Village, Knights of Columbus Hall, Larry's French Market and Cajun Restaurant, and Tony's Barbecue and Steakhouse.
I'll say.
I have a motion and a second to approve the City of Grove's beer and wine permits and mixed beverage permits for the 5 Baytown Seafood, Felici's Italian Village, Columbus Club of Groves, Larry's French Market, and Tony's Barbecue. Do you have any questions? Marshall, we pretty much had the same 5 for how many years?
A long time.
A long time.
Of course, my 6 years has been Marshall.